Ladies and gentlemen, there is a nation that is obsessed with not just bleeding India with 1,000 cuts, but also defaming India and creating a false perception. So much so, will you believe if I say that it's not one but two generations of a certain set which is right at the heart of a massive disinformation campaign against our country. And it is set on four important planks. These are the fault lines which they want to use, irrespective of which disposition. It's not because the BJP is in power, or is it because this nation has seen nearly 8 years of Prime Minister, 9 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. No, that's not the story. The story is irrespective of whichever disposition, be it Modi or Manmohan Singh. This group has been there altering the narratives, but creating a web and a chain of misinformation and disinformation so as to skew the story against India, so as to skew the perception against India. The overall issue is hatred against India, and the roots of it start with the liberation in 1971. That insult, that shame, that slap, that haunts this nation even today, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why it's funding generations to try and seed A, hatred, B, disinformation, and C, a perception that shows India in poor light. And it's all done on false grounds. In this age where technology can be a tool to arm and also to weaponize, to enable, but also to try and hack and disable, this group stands exposed. The Disinfo Lab has put a series on our 75th year of independence. They have said that they are going to put out a series. But the first part itself is startling, ladies and gentlemen. And we credit them the information that they've put out on social media. But we are doing a deep dive to expose them. These organizations, these entities, these individuals base themselves out of UK and the US, sit there and poison the minds of the policymakers due there and spend thousands of dollars lobbying against us. Let's try and understand this entire hydra of hate. Yes, this is an exclusive here on the Right Stand. This is what the Disinfo Lab has put out, ladies and gentlemen. The source is Disinfo Lab. These are the planks. First, Islamophobia in India. Post 2014, then came in casteism in India and US. Thereafter came this entire aspect of K2, Kashmir and Khalistan. So mission K2, not 2K but K2. And of course, with the BJP, it became Hindu versus Hindutva or Hindutva fascism. Before that, it was a communal narrative and of course, Islamophobia narrative. So pre-2014, so these were the four hydras of hate. Before that, targeting Mahatma Gandhi, calling him all sorts of names, trying to say that no, Gandhi is not the Mahatma, he's a fascist, he's a sexual predator, all those kind of things, and encouraging desecration of Mahatma Gandhi's statues across the world, terming Gandhi racist, casteist, sexual predator, and of course lobbying against Indian governments since 2002. So this is a 20-year-old agenda, but of course it has been happening even before that. So this is the overall hydra of hate. Now, how is this hydra of hate? How does it do? So it's got one hub and many spokes, or one fountainhead, and of course many tentacles, one head and many tentacles. So they create organizations like the IAMC, the OFMI, which has seeded its activities after it got exposed big time. Then you have influencers sitting in USCIRF, or those who are parts of these organizations like IAMC, IACSJ, and of course Imana, the ex-members of these organizations who are now perhaps ensconced here and are heavily influenced. They have good friends who are operating. The faces are here. Of course, the Inter-Services Intelligence, ISI, is named because it is all Pak-backed. It starts with this man, Abdul Malik Mujahid, and of course, Ghulam Nabi Fai. And then this person who's the white face, the Gora face, propped by this Khalistani Bhajan Singh Bhinder, whose name is quietly moved the moment it comes to light. And of course, this is Nadine Mainza. Nadine Mainza is part of the USCIRF and who's heavily influenced. So these organizations influence certain perceptions about the country. And will you believe it if I say that it is their web of disinformation, misinformation that resulted in India being listed as a country of concern in the USCIRF reports for 2 consecutive years in 20 and 21. Now this web, this is how it works. It's Indian American Muslim Council or the IAMC. You have hires Terry Allen's company, Fiddler's Government Relations, FGR, to lobby, and $55,000 or 42.29 lakh rupees have been spent by IAMC on lobbying activity and creating events, protests, etc. and perceptions. FGR lobbies in the US Commission on International Religious Freedom, that is USCIRF, and that too specially against India. The USCIRF Commissioner Nadine Mainza is closely linked to the IACSJ. Thereafter, you have the IACSJ, which is a known front for the Pak-based Jamaat-e-Islami, Hizbul Mujahideen, Lashkar and Simi. So you see how these organizations, they are offshoots of Pakistan-based terror outfits, highly radical pan-Islamist outfits, and of course those controlled by the ISI. Their agenda is to defame India. Their agenda is, no matter what, set the narrative against India. What's the objective? Consistent focus on denting India's global image. This is the mega psyop or the information war that they are conducting. Change the government of India's image from non-violent Gandhiism to fascist, no matter how and where. So then if you don't have somebody who you can attack as an individual, then attack Gandhi himself. Swing the narrative. So those who are saying Gandhi is a bad man, desecrating his images in 2008, 2009 and his putla, now in 2018, 2019 are saying, oh, this is a fascist country, Hindu versus Hindutva narrative. So that's what they would do. The other act, run down Indian legislation as tools of fascism. And there is a whole toolkit. There is also Kashmir shaming, Khalistan propaganda, which will happen. They will never talk about the Pakistani bullets, Pak-sponsored bullets and guns that are claiming the lives of Indians. That's never talked about. Project India as casteist, Islamophobe and Hindu fascist. So pick up on these words, try and keep harping these words, repeating these words, getting people to form an this one. Use one instance to create a big hullabaloo about it and do it on foreign soil. Do it in the UK, do it in the US. That's what they do. Propaganda to polish Pakistan's sunken image. No matter how, somehow curate Pakistani image. That's what they're trying to do. But this is an info war that goes beyond leadership or political dispositions. That's the bigger thing. This is a mega psyop game that's being played. There is much more to this, and we will